Booyah, it's time for the Game Sports Podcast. Your host, David McCaig Jr. The Game Sports Podcast is powered by 91 Network and featured on Spaces, which is through Village Media. So today, check out Spaces wherever you're located today, and also check out the YouTube channel of 91 Network. Dave McCaig joined here right off the hop, considering this our top shelf segment. Well, let me spoil it for you. The agenda of the show is going to be hockey throughout its entirety, and it's going to be a one-segment edition of the game. Yeah, a little bit shorter today. I'm joined by the Cart. I don't know why I do that each week. Brendan McCarthy, my man. How you doing?
I'm doing, as Randy Carlisle said about James Reimer a few years ago, just okay. How is James Reimer in net today, Randy? Just okay. I'm doing just okay, man. I mean, it's, I believe it was Carlisle. Maybe it was Ron Wilson. Either way, it was the dog days of Leafland. And at this point, I think we might get a second era of the dog days of the Leafs, because I just woke up today and I could just feel the panic around Toronto. And I know they're up 3-2. They're still in the driver's seat, but these guys are a bunch of frickin' divas. I said on our previous episode with you, Dave, there's got to be a McKinnon or McDavid or Kachuk type player. You'd think it'd be Matthews at this point, who just goes out and says, I'm going to win the game for my team tonight. I'm going to win this game, right? But it's always, well, we had our looks and, we had X amount of shots and we were right there. And there's always just seems to be excuses in closeout games, and Parr was sending us a litany of stats that you and I basically were just sending every GIF right, left, and center, and basically I had to shut up and phone because it just gives me a headache. Here's the problem. Closeout games, the Leafs shit their pants. And if you're a fan base that is booing, I get it, because they've seen this movie before, but it'd be the most Leaf thing to do is to go on the road, reset, stay at the Westin or whatever the hell they're staying, and win, and come back and say F you to the fan base. But a rift between the team and the fan base, not good. It's not good.
That explains a lot. You know what? You and I are going to dive into those stats that Parr shared. We're going to get into some more meat and potatoes about the Battle of Ontario. And speaking of hockey, this past weekend, pausing that for a second, kind of flipping the script for a second, I played a tournament here in Sault Ste. Marie it's a 3-on-3 hockey tournament. Well-known hockey tournament here in Sault Ste. Marie. They did a great job. They had well over 100 teams. I don't even have the exact number. And you're paying about near 500 per team. All that goes to cancer research. There's a lot of sponsors. This tournament's done great. I was on the ice for a game and I ended up taking a puck to the lip. A little deflection off a hard pass that went right up and hit me right in the lip. And I had a nice fat lip. I looked like I had some great Botox, okay? Kylie Jenner would have been absolutely jealous if she saw what I had going on. And the reason why I bring that up right off the hop is because, going into that weekend of playing hockey, I haven't gotten a puck in the face or anything in men's league hockey since I started playing men's league hockey after playing junior hockey. And I remember going into the games this weekend as a Leaf fan, we're a good spot. Right? Life felt different those couple games. You're up, you're a little bit more confidence. And you're right. Toronto fans today are starting to see that movie. Okay. And we're going to, like I said, dive into that. But if anyone sees a bruise or a cut or something on my lip, it's actually not because I lost a fight. It's not because I decided to run into a wall because the Leafs lost. It's literally because I took a puck in the lip. So I'm going to comment on that. And look, if you're looking for some Botox, taking a good puck in the lip is a good approach. Just saying, you usually pay double for that type of action for the mouth. If you get my quote where that came from, you'll get a good laugh.
Hey, you show more grit than the Leafs, buddy.
Hey, it took that. I went down. I counted, made sure. Couple of make sure that's good. And I was back out next shift. Okay. Heart. Beauty. It's a long way from the heart. And what I see about these playoffs overall, and we're going to save, because the meat and potatoes is going to be the Leafs and Senators, just to spoil, because given, of course, the Game Sports Podcast located in Ontario, okay? But there is a team that went on. There is one team that not a lot of people are talking about. It's because the Carolina Hurricanes played the New Jersey Devils, an absolute snorefest of I don't care how good you thought the last game was of a series, though. Carolina defeated New Jersey. And obviously the Winnipeg Jets and St. Louis, they're battling it out. As expected, I talked about this. I think Winnipeg's going to win that series still, but they're going to get in their head. They have that playoff curse too. Hellebuck plays like he forgets how to play goalie in the playoffs. It's like he forgot what to do to save a puck. He doesn't remember. Obviously, watched in Montreal, a couple heartbreak games for the Habs, right? That big hit on Carrier, go back and score, puts them behind, and then overtime with Ovechkin in game one. There's been a couple times the Habs had that hold in the series to really even it out or even be ahead. It just didn't happen. Oilers were down 2-0. Come back, now they're up 3-2. The Florida Panthers, that's where I'm going to go with a bit more in a second because I'm fed up with this injured until game one nonsense and the inconsistencies with reffing. I see a lot of it in the league between the Florida Panthers and Tampa Bay series. The Barkov hit, the Hagel hit. I know there's been a suspension for Ekblad, but obviously the Kachuk doesn't really face anything. This playoffs, Brendan, has had a lot of different storylines and entertainment. And obviously, we're seeing I would say, an entertaining playoff, especially Dallas and Colorado. Good series. Loving every bit of that. I think that's one of my most favorite series of the first round, as everyone would have predicted. What are you, before I share a bit more thoughts, I want to go to you first about how you feel about how these first rounds matchups are going and what's standing out to you between all the matchups outside of the Battle of Ontario first.
I'd say Washington Montreal has been fun. A lot of fireworks. Obviously, you got Wilson versus Anderson. You got a young, fiery Montreal Canadiens team that has, like, hands down the best fan base in the league. Like, that Bell Center barn is absolutely rocking all the time. They're loyal, and you're taking on a Caps team that had a really, I'll say, they were spoiled in the regular season. Everything was coming to them. Obviously, it was the OV goal scoring watch to surpass Gretzky's record. And that is a really, really fun series. And I think the Habs will, they'll keep swinging. Even if Washington knocks them on their ass, they'll keep swinging, man. I think that's a really fun series. Minnesota has given Vegas some headaches as well. I think Vegas ultimately will finish it off. They're just too strong. Edmonton, I mean, when LA went up 2-0, man, like, these two teams have clashed, this is an 8 consecutive year, something like that. And LA sniffed game 3 and 4 away. Like, Byfield had that horrible cough up. They're really, really solid up front, the Kings. But McDavid and Draisaitl, what did I say off the top? There's got to be a guy or two guys that will their teams to win on a consistent basis, right? And if I can quickly go back to Toronto, because I was still pretty fired up off the top, they just don't have the fire right now. They maybe they got in their heads about last night, but that was a really, really bad showing. And again, even if they win tomorrow, right? I still think there's a sense of, like, you kind of like mailed in game 5. Game 4, you had a 4-minute power play in overtime in game 4 for the sweep, and you shit your pants. Ottawa is a team that hasn't been in the playoffs since 2017. They're new, they're young, they're raw. Guess what, Toronto? Like, you're going to probably get the Florida Panthers, who will, as of tonight, April 30th, will have a couple more rest days than you.
As long as they win, and you know what?
As long as they win in Tampa. I think Tampa will show some more fight. A lot of fireworks in that series. The Battle of Florida is awesome. But it's really mind-numbing because Ottawa's playing loose. Travis Green is not phased, but every player can say we want to win, the effort's there. It's tough playing in Toronto. But I think the fans would appreciate the players more if they had more of a F it. Like, we don't care about the money. Since 2018, every post game in a series clinching game from the core, I'm going to include Riley, so the core 5, right? Who the 5 guys who have been there for
shit. Riley has been through it all.
But Davey, it's always the same fucking thing. It's not taking accountability and just saying nonsense that will piss off any fan, right? It's it's just always like, it's like, just own it. When McKinnon lost in the playoffs a year before they won the cup, he had one of the most iconic sound bites of just, I've been here 9 years, we've done fuck all, or something like that, right? Like, get mad, get angry. Like, Matthews snaps his stick, he gets hit in the hand, he's icing his wrist, he's acting like a diva. Like, him and Marner on the bench are like an old married couple. Like, it's really, really getting stale. And Could you imagine if this comes back to Toronto for Game 7 and they lose? Like, you got to go scorched earth. You have to go scorched earth. The only person who'd be safe is Chris Tanev because he's on a 6-year contract that no one will want to pick up because he's going to be like 45 next year. It's really the only guy who's safe. Again, they could win tomorrow. They could. But don't you get the sense that there's still that bitter taste of, okay, you didn't win it at 4, fair enough, hard to sweep. But you had a prime opportunity to say, bye-bye. Yeah.
Yep, at home.
Look at Carolina. Carolina basically just dusted Devils and said, see you later.
Yeah, and then, you
right?
know what? And
at home. At home.
And let me say it flat out too, because now we're back into it. We'll dive into the Battle of Ontario because there's a lot.
I know. I had to relay it back.
So the big thing is Ottawa is not an 8th seed team. I want people to know that they're not an 8th or even a 7th seed. Yeah, they're the wild card 1. Okay, wild card 1.
Yeah.
But if you lay out the standings, Ottawa, if I remember correctly, I'm not going to pull it up because I'm going to speak instinctively, would be 6th in the standings if I had it correctly. If there was 1 through 8. If we're talking 1 through 8, I believe Ottawa would be 6th. So Ottawa's a team that wasn't too far away from 50 wins this year. All right? They were not too far away from 50 wins. This is a team that's not a joke, and getting swept might have honestly been a little bit of a disappointment for Ottawa, okay? That's why I predicted 5, just because of the experience the Leafs had and a different identity I thought going in. And the first 3 games, maybe the first 2, and the third one was kind of, they just got away with that in overtime with Benoit with an absolute bomb from the point, which I've seen a lot less from the Leafs blue line the last couple games. This was a team that, from the Ottawa Senators, is no joke and shouldn't be taken lightly, okay? But for them, if they battle back to 7, let alone win the series, that is something the Leafs got to really, even if the Leafs win at 7, that is disappointing. You could have had the series wrapped up earlier. There's no harder effort, and you bring up the Divas point. I'll say it right now. You can just see Nylander, who's been the best playoff performer for this team. The guy, I don't care what pass he made to Ekman Larson back in Game 4. I don't care about that. This has not been the Willie Nylander that I was proud to watch this year. Mitch Marner and Matthews, these are guys, they say, but these guys are getting points. They got like over 7 points in these games. They've shown up. Game 1, Game 2, Ottawa was just proud to be there, it sounded like. And then they started catching on. They started to believe. And then you give that team hope. And that's the thing, why I mentioned they're a 6th seed and shouldn't be taken lightly, even though they're a wild card 1. This is a team that you give them hope, they're going to feed off it. They're young. If they get a taste of saying, oh, we can beat them, we can get confidence.
He nailed it.
Brady is going to ride that with his team. This is my house. We're going to be back here. That mindset is what scares me.
Absolutely.
I'm a Maple Leaf fan because that is the belief that in that locker room, their leader is going to just say, nah, we're not losing. This isn't happening. The leader on the other side who wears the C this year, Austin Matthews, we had our chances. We're not panicking yet. And
thank God. Obviously,
we're not panicking. Okay. Let me say, what team in history would be up 3-1, now 3-2 in a series, and have their home rink boo you when you're up in the series? What team?
Embarrassing.
What planet would that be?
Embarrassing.
Embarrassing.
It's a combination of fans who have seen it before and suits. What's the formula? Boo birds and silence and panic.
Yep. And you know what? Do Leafs fans have a reason to panic? Absolutely they do.
Absolutely.
Because of seeing this movie before. Should you panic? Look, I think this is a different team. I've said that all year round. Heck, this is the year that I picked was the year, and I'm not changing that back. And I still wouldn't, despite all this. But you know what? If this goes back to 7, let me tell you, the panic button is being hit hard over here. Hard.
I called this series in 7. I didn't like saying it, but you said it earlier, man. Like, Ottawa shouldn't be taken lightly at all. And
shouldn't be.
Toronto is definitely a team where they'll be snippy with the media. Like, they hear everything that goes on. Everything that goes on. And the one guy who can maybe just quiet down and turn down the noise a bit is Craig Berube. And he is a no-nonsense guy. I'm sure behind closed doors, he's pulling in Matthews and Marner into his office today, and he's saying, boys, what the fuck? This is unacceptable if you want to play for this hockey club under me, right? And the one thing I'll say with Leaf fans is yes, they're super passionate, but you can't go from bringing the brooms to Ottawa to burning jerseys. Like that is like, okay, you're an idiot. You're dumb. Okay, you have the right to be pissed, but the stuff that's been like, you can't take these people seriously. You could be angry because it was a really lackluster effort last night in a game where they could have clinched on home ice for the first time since what, '04 against the Sens in Game 7. But they are still, we have to remember that they are still in the lead, 3-2. They could go tomorrow. Maybe it's ideal that they're on the road. They seem to play better on the road. So perhaps it's just, guys, closed door meetings, quiet team dinner, business trip. Get it done, come back, and, give a big FU to the kind of vanilla on the fence fans,
So there was one thing that was brought up, and I hope this doesn't happen this week. I believe Stolarz needs to play tomorrow. You don't consider putting Wall in? Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. No.
It's got to be Stolarz.
Yeah. You got to go. If there's a Game 7, I don't think you even change that unless Stolarz gets hurt, knock on wood, or unless Stolarz maybe lets in 5 in the first period, then maybe you got to look at something. But no, that's the guy you started. That's the guy you're going with.
Stolarz has been a king this series, and anyone who says that is just an idiot. Yeah. It's Stolarz net, and you know what? The only fighting chance we have if we move forward is Stolarz against his former club, against the Panthers, and Berube versus Maurice. But the Leafs, like, Steven Lawrence and Scott Long can't be your best guys. At the end of the day, it has to be Marner and Matthews. Similarly, in Edmonton, it's McDavid and Draisaitl. But it shouldn't be. Like, if you're gonna have a credible argument, like Leaf fans out there, like I said, you can't just be burning jerseys and 2 days prior you're just like, we're gonna sweep them and got Matthew Tkachuk on a broom and everything. It's like, yes, we've established that they're divas. They mailed it in Game 5, but understand that they're in the lead and they could rebound from this.
Yep.
And
Yep.
Be better with the media. I'll say that to players because they're awful. Own it. Own it. It's fair.
You know, that's the accountability piece is massive, and you got leaders that you want to drive for it. You don't get to see behind the scenes unless you watch Blueprint or you watch these certain shows that are out there, and you see different shows with the leaders. And I can see this team. I have seen this team as a Toronto team battle back and come back and win. But you know what? It takes an army, not just one individual guy with this team to get the job done. But there is one individual guy that could run this troops and take him on his back, and that's Austin Matthews. That is the guy.
You hope so. Hope so.
That's the guy that you expect to go into Ottawa tomorrow. And that game that he played as a rookie, his first game where he got 4 goals, I better see that then some on the next game. Because it's time to, you take this back to 7, even more doubt, more nerves, more pressure. You want to see it. It's a whole different landscape. It's completely different.
I know we got to get to our fun social segments, but win a boring Berube-style game tomorrow. Win 2-1, win 3-1 with an empty netter. If you actually win 6-2, I think people will be happy, but the fans will be like, see, this is where the inconsistencies are, and that's a valuable argument, right?
Welcome to
outscoring your problems. Like, win a greasy, gritty, hard hitting, hard forechecking game, Berube style, white knuckle, and come back to TO. You got home ice if you get to round 2.
That's it. And I like the series overall. I'll give a hand. I like everything's entertaining. The only series that was Carolina, New Jersey. Not a fan.
I think I watched the opening 5 minutes of Game 1 and I said, see you later. Hey, isn't it funny how in a series clinching game opportunity, guess who else gets eliminated? The Leafs' former coach, Sheldon.
Sheldon Keefe. And you know what? I want to read some. I know before we go to our socials, Par's stats. I'm not going to read it because
rattle them off.
Because as if you see on video, there's a whole.
Yeah, Par ghosted us today, but he didn't ghost us with the stats.
He did not. From 2018 to now, 1-13. Okay, in closeout games in the Matthews era, 1-13. That's all I'll keep it at. You can look up Big Head Hockey on X. You look at the stats that he had, or just reach out to us and we'll put the screenshot of this in the description if fans really want to see it. Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, Willie Nylander have 0 combined playoff or power play goals in games 5 through 7 in their playoff careers. You hope that changes if you're a Leaf fan tomorrow night, or if we hit game 7. Accumulated game 5, 6, and 7 stats from 19 to 24. Nylander has 13 points in 16 games. Matthews has 10 and 14. Tavares has 10 and 13. Marner has 16 games, has 5 points. Listen, pal. I don't care how good you're doing the first couple games. You were my guy that I picked has got to wake up and be the guy to go above this year because you want this next year. You're going to get it from Utah. No offense to Utah. You're going to get it from Chicago. Go ahead.
Vegas.
Go ahead and get that money somewhere else because that does not show a player that shows up to the big games. And yeah, the other guys have their own problems to check into, but Marner's stat is what sticks out to me the most. Unbelievable. You hope that when it comes to Game 6 tomorrow, the Leafs are ready to rock and fucking roll because coming back for 7 to Scotia may sound exciting and an easy go, but no, it ain't. It is not an easy go.
First 5-7 minutes will dictate how the game's going to go.
100%. And
first 5-7 minutes.
Small little tidbits before our socials. Tyler Hall signs a 3-year extension with the Carolina Hurricanes. Very affordable cap hit, especially if he gets 20 goals in a season. 9.5 for 3 years. Aaron Ekblad got suspended, as we know that. But the point that I want to mention up, because I'll skip that on my notes, because we're not going to talk about the inconsistencies of officiating here, because I want to save that for Parr, because he loves that. But Rick Tocchet will not be returning as the coach for the Vancouver Canucks. Doc is gone. I think he's going to be knocking on Philadelphia's door. Just saying. And ultimately, we got the overall trophy finalists, the Ted Lindsay, the Norris was all released. We'll get into that in the future show. But all those news were as per NHL.com. So, Brendan, you and I are going to get into the 2 clips that we're going to be having for our socials that may have directed you here. Yeah, we didn't upload a Leaf clip. We didn't do any of that for you because you know what? We're going to make a separate Leaf clip, especially if the game goes to Game 7. Brendan and or Alex, Brendan and I, whoever, are going to make a very special 5-minute clip, 3 to 5 minute clip for you about the Toronto Maple Leafs if there's a Game 7 and the playoffs. But if the Leafs make it past the next game and win, then we'll save those clips and get ready for a reaction on next week's episode. Easy for me to say. But we're going to get into 2 pieces. Firstly, we're going to have the 2000 NHL redraft. And we're going to have Washington Capitals all-time team, where Brendan and I pick 3 forwards, 2 defense, goalie, and a coach for that team if we had to put a line out there on the ice for one more shift to watch. What would be their players? So we're going to start with the 2000 NHL draft. And Brendan, I'm going to go over to you first to get into the NHL draft. Yeah, you take us, man. Take us right from the start.
All right. Number 5, going to go Heater, Danny Heatley.
Oh.
Originally taken 2nd overall behind Rick DiPietro.
50 and 07.
Number 4, I'm going to go Scotty Hartnell. Number 3, Mr. Game 7, Justin Williams. Number 2, Marian Gaborik. And numero uno, King Henrik.
I got the same 5, but different order. Good picks. Number 5 is going to go with the New York Islanders are proud to select Scott Hartnell. With the 4th overall pick, the Columbus Blue Jackets are proud to select Mr. Game 7, Justin Williams. With the 3rd overall pick, the Minnesota Wild are proud to select Danny Heatley. With the 2nd overall pick, the Atlanta Thrashers are proud to select Marian Gaborik. And number 1, the New York Islanders are proud to select another goaltender, but not Rick DiPietro, Henrik Lundqvist, the king.
Henrik, best hair in the league.
Might have been one of the best looking guys. I'll just say it, flat out in the league too. Okay, the guy's a stud.
We should do rankings.
Stud rankings. I like that. Best hair, best looks, whatever.
Yeah, like stud / like beauty rankings, like Lupul, Lundqvist. You know, there's a couple good looking cats.
Top 5.
Yeah.
Joffrey Lupul. Hide your wife. Hide your wife. Hide your girl.
Maybe
hide your wife.
I got a good idea. Maybe blind rank stud / beauties, and then blind rank like Muppets. Like worst looking guys.
Brady Kachuk. Just kidding.
Brent Sopel.
My goodness. Okay, all-time team, the Washington Capitals. And I'll kick us off with this one. We'll go in the different order. We're going to go with the top, like I mentioned, 3, 2, 1, and coach. Going to go first with the coach. The coach, I'm saying Coach Barry Trotz. He finally brought home the cup for the team in 2018. When you win trophies, you get on this list. Goaltender, same reason. Braden Holtby. Brick wall in the 2010s, okay? This guy stopping pucks, Vezina winner, good cup run in 18. The save, they called it in Game 2 of the cup final. Look it up. Braden Holtby is the guy. I was very torn not to pick Olav Kolzig. Was a fan of him as a kid. On defense, John Carlson. Look, big part of the 18 Cup again, multiple 60-point seasons, power play quarterback, one of, if not the best defensemen in Washington history. The other defenseman going old a little bit here in the 80s, a little bit of rock and roll, baby, a little bit of Rod Langway.
Oh, we're pretty similar in our lineup here.
I like Rod Langway. I look back, I saw some names, and I said, okay, this guy, he was a culture guy, okay? And I knew some people that knew Rod and said how he was a culture type guy, and he won the Norris twice, okay? 80s defenseman, the rock star, not his nickname. That wasn't his nickname, but I'm calling him that, Rod Langway. With the other forwards, or with the forwards, I'm going with Peter Bondra, the pre-Ovi sniper, baby. That's what I'm calling him. On center, I'm going with Nicholas Backstrom. He was Ovi setup, man, an elite two-way center all at once. Playmate, elite two-way center, showed up for the big game. Little pause. And during his prime,
What a lean in there.
And during his prime, quietly consistent and smart. Despite anything against Pittsburgh, these guys always showed up to play. And the one guy who always showed up to play, the other forward, the best Washington Capital in history, the best goal scorer of all time, current player, the face of the franchise, Alexander Ovechkin.
Tyler Bertuzzi. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to, that's, you know what? Yeah, Dave McCaig. I'm just kidding. Alex Ovechkin, no brainer. There's my all-time Washington team. Brendan.
We're pretty similar here, Davey. I'll go Barry Trotz, man in the bench. Oh, yeah. I'll go Braden Holtby in the cage. Then I'll go Gonchar, right defense. Sergei Gonchar.
Yeah.
I'll do Rod Langway. And then forwards, I'll go Bondra. I'll go Alex Semin. Oh. Remember that cat?
Oh, that cat. That's a cat. All right. That was a cat.
Alexander Semin. So Backstrom gets the shift. And then this was a tough one. It took me a couple hours to think of this after work. But Alex Ovechkin?
Who is that guy?
I'm just double checking. Yeah, the greatest capital ever. Okay, I'm gonna have to do some more research on this guy. But anyway, that sounds like a pretty good lineup on both ends.
You know what? Russians may not like this comment, but it's fine. Alex Ovechkin plays like a Canadian. Just gonna say it right now. The guy snipes and he grinds in the corner and he has an attitude on him. Look, that guy was born to be a Canadian player. Okay, but too bad he's not Canadian and he's in an American market. Okay, complete opposite.
And he not only does he bury pucks in the net, but he also buries hot Cheetos in Subway.
Yes, and his son is going to be the 2036 first overall pick. I'm telling you right now, Ilya Ovechkin is a 2036. He can
pucks too.
He is sick. If you see Ovi's TikTok or social media, this kid is sick. This kid is going to be in the NHL. I'm telling you right now, Ilya Ovechkin.
All right,
clip that now. All right, that is the selection for the redraft and for the all-time team, Brennan. That's fun. I like doing that. We're going to be doing the all-time team for all the teams as we start near the end of the redraft. We still have 24 to go. But you know what? We started doing the late 70s for those drafts, and time is flying by. So we want to make sure we get these different clips in there for you to enjoy and interact on. So let us know what you think about all these, about the redraft and the all-time team. Roast away below if you'd like, but be kind to Leaf fans if you're near somebody today. Wish them luck if you hear this show tonight on April 30th, if it's uploaded on that time, but likely you'll hear this tomorrow, which is May the 1st. And if you see a Leaf fan on May the 1st before 7 p.m., be nice and just wish them luck. My piece of advice to you for the day today. And then, my friend, look, one segment, it doesn't feel right. I feel like I just want to sit here and talk for nothing for 30 more minutes. Or where's Connor? Where's Trudes? Where's all the other lads? But
they're in the lounge.
They're in the lounge. They're taking a break. There's a lot going on. Obviously, there's a lot going on even outside of the show. Both of us have a lot going on, but you came on with me today, my friend, and I appreciate you taking the time as always.
Thank you, my friend. We'll chat soon.
Thank you again, and thank you to Spaces. Their host, we're feature through Spaces through Village Media and Sue Today, and of course, we're powered by 91 Network. Check that out on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook at The Game Sports Podcast. Make sure you check us out there, interact, like, and follow. And NHL. Keep it up. Keep giving us the entertainment and keep giving us the stress, because why the heck not, right? Let's do it. It's going to be a ride as we end near round 1 next week will definitely be a different landscape in the NHL playoffs when we're back here on the Game Sports Podcast. So I'm here to remind you, keep your stick on the ice, swing your bats, catch your touchdowns, train your threes, and shoot your shots. Booyah.